to another Rin Reads. It is Sweet Valley Sunday, and I'm actually really excited about this book. Once again, still trying to manage things. Don't have the stand for my phone, but I'm just getting through this month, and we'll just do it until things work. Because you know what? Not everything's perfect all the time. I just gotta roll with it, which is what I'm doing. So this week we're looking at Super Chiller 3. You have no idea how excited I was to reread this book. Just the cover made me emotional. And I know that probably sounds like really weird, but I think that this is like one of the first Super Chillers I ever read. And like this is really what got me into paranormal stuff. There's no way that it didn't. The Carnival Ghost was probably one of my absolute favorite Sweet Valley books. Full stop. So yeah, if you haven't read it and you don't want spoilers, stop watching because I'm gonna like talk about this book, like actually talk about it. So what happens is the carnival comes to Sweet Valley over Christmas break, and they're all like super excited. Elizabeth and Jessica go the first day and have a great time, except for Jessica gets a curse. Or no, I think the curse happens the second day. Lila gets a curse the first day from Mademoiselle Zed. And this thing happens with a horse, and there's this whole thing. So Lila refuses to go back to the carnival. Elizabeth and Jessica go through a haunted house, and the haunted house at the end it goes to a fork in the road where you go through either the vampire or the ghost. Jessica goes through the vampire, Elizabeth goes through the ghost, and while she's there, she meets a little girl named Claire. Claire's about 10 years old. And the whole book is basically Elizabeth becoming obsessed with Claire. She has to go to the carnival every day to see Claire. Claire is the daughter of the owner of the carnival. And like, it's weird because Claire does all of these like weird things that kind of like freak Elizabeth out, but she still is like, well, I guess it's okay because Claire's my friend. Jessica is worried. Her parents start to become worried because she's just so obsessed with Claire. They ask her to invite Claire to come over for dinner. Of course, Claire doesn't. Her best friend Amy, she starts ditching. Like she forgets that she's made plans with Amy. She actually at one point like snaps at Amy and just like yells at her and stuff. It's kind of crazy. And so there's all this stuff going on. Of course, Jessica has her subplot where she gets told by Mademoiselle Zed that she is never to return to the carnival or else she will have impending doom or something. And then she starts having all of these like weird nightmares and like starts seeing things like tapping at her window and hearing these messages in the middle of the night. And so like Jessica's got her own subplot going on, but this book is really focused on Elizabeth. And so I think this is also because like the ghosts in Super Edition 2 were really benign. Like it was there to help Sam save his brother David. Like it really was a benign entity, whereas this is the first time like an evil entity enters into the Sweet Valley universe. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. My brain is just full of things right now. Lila has a carnival party. Jessica is the fortune teller there. That's the whole thing. So, Jessica's off having fun, but noticing that Elizabeth's really weird. Like, Jessica gets her chores done and Elizabeth doesn't. Elizabeth's house is a mess. There's like all of this stuff. So you then find out, like, it gets to the point that Jessica hangs out with Amy to research the carnival. So you find out that the man who designed the haunted house ended up getting like really freaked out about the haunted house. And then later on, you find out that Mademoiselle Zed saw Elizabeth with Claire And that's why she cursed Jessica, because she didn't realize that they were identical twins. So she was trying to get Jessica to stay away from Claire, not realizing that it was Elizabeth with Claire. Um, and so the tapping at her window and stuff like that was Mademoiselle Zed's fiance. Um, and then Mademoiselle Zed goes into like this whole thing about how the carnival back in like the early 1900s, there was a man who had an accident. He was a trapeze artist. They had an accident, so then he started the carnival because he had to leave the circus. And they had a daughter, and then his wife died, and he was awful to his daughter, and his daughter became awful, and then she died on the Ferris wheel. I'm really simplifying this. Read the book if you want the whole story. So now basically she tries to convince kids to go up the Ferris wheel and get them to jump off so that they die the same way she did, so that she now has friends. So it's really, ooh, so like the climax of the story, Jessica's at the carnival looking for Elizabeth. It's foggy and you know it's the last night. And she runs and she jumps onto like the Ferris wheel as it's starting to turn. And she's like trying to save Elizabeth. And there's like this whole thing. And it's like wonderful because like Claire's like, come to me, Elizabeth. And Elizabeth is all like kind of like mind controlled. But then Jessica's there like, oh no, stay with me. And then Claire hurts Jessica because Jessica is trying to restrain Elizabeth. And that's like the final straw. Because Elizabeth is like, oh no, you hurt my sister. I'm not listening to you anymore. So of course, nobody dies. But they never really say what happens to Claire. Like, she gets angry and kind of like disappears. But I don't think she's gone for good. So, I mean, it's very possible that Claire will continue to haunt the carnival. They never really resolve that. Um, which I found was interesting. They just kind of like ignored it, like, oh, Elizabeth is safe, so we don't care about this part of the plot anymore. But it is like teen fiction, so, or not even teen, it's more like tween fiction, because I mean, they're in grade 6, they're 12 years old. Um, so yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it'll be fun to like have a running tally of who gets haunted by what. So Super Chiller 2, neither of the girls were being haunted. This one, Elizabeth was being haunted and is going to die, but didn't. So it'll be interesting as we go through them to see who gets haunted more. Like, is one of the twins more susceptible to these hauntings? Because yeah, like from here, the rest of them are like ghosts and curses. Really excited for Ghost in the Bell Tower. That is another one. I think that's the first one I ever owned. The image on it also brings up a lot of feelings for me. So I'm excited to do Ghost in the Bell Tower. Really hoping I can get through it this week. But yeah, that's basically my story for this week. I love this book. I think for kind of like an introduction into like horror from a very benign tween series, it's a great introduction. Like, honestly, it got me hooked. I started with Super Chillers and then I ended up in Night World, and now I am who I am today. So, yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you again next week. Bye.